What does real bravery look like? Sometimes it's a teenager with trembling hands and a pounding heart, stepping into the light and telling the world, "This is me." Tonight on Silent Fame, we spotlight 10 stars who didn't wait for permission. They came out as gay before turning 18, rewriting the rules and inspiring millions. From viral TikTok confessions to YouTube bombshells, these young icons proved you're never too young to live your truth. Their journeys are filled with drama, pride, and courage in the face of pressure. As you watch, ask yourself, whose story moves you most? Drop their number in the comments, join the conversation, and subscribe for more untold stories that celebrate LGBTQ+ pride. 1. Troye Sivan. The globe-spanning pop star and actor Troye Sivan had a secret he carried through his teens. He was gay. At just 15, he confided in his family, determined that no one else would own his truth. Years before fame made him a youth icon, Troye made a quiet pact with himself. When he broke the news, it would be on his terms. In 2013, on the eve of signing his record deal, Troye finally recorded the moment he came out on YouTube. With trembling honesty, he told the camera, "I wanted to live without fear." The confession, and on his own powerful, vulnerable terms, let him finally write love songs that felt true. Now an LGBTQ+ symbol, Troye's meteoric rise began with that courage at 15. His story is cinematic. A young boy from suburban Perth clutching a camera, unveiling himself to the world, and emerging from silence into pride and promise. 2. Greyson Chance. Once just a 13-year-old piano prodigy from Oklahoma, Grayson Chance was catapulted into the spotlight after a viral Lady Gaga cover. Behind the soaring voice and velvet piano, however, was a teenager wrestling with identity. In 2017, Grayson quietly dropped the bombshell. He was gay, using his platform to reach others. He shared the news with fans online, telling the world that he came out publicly in 2017 and planned to use his voice as a resource and champion for LGBTQ youths. The raw courage of a boy who once climbed on stage at age 13 to perform, now standing proud as a young man embracing love, is quietly epic. Chance's hit song Butterfly, his clear-eyed lyrics, became an anthem of self-acceptance. The narrative turns dramatic when he notes that coming out lifted a great weight off his heart. "I feel very light, that I can leave the house, knowing I am not hiding anything," he said. Grayson's story is one of artistry and authenticity, each key he plays echoing the note that he is finally free. 3. Karamo Brown. Karamo Brown's life has been a study in dualities. A loving son of Jamaican and Cuban immigrant parents, and the gay teenager who worried his identity would tear his family apart. In his Queer Eye role, he's warm and wise, but on stage after his 2005 real-world debut, Karamo was a teenager isolated by secrets. He publicly came out as gay at 17, and the fallout was swift. His father severed contact for a decade. In a Raw TV interview, Karamo recalled, "When I was 17 going on 18, I told my dad that I was gay. Our relationship ended. It split the family apart." The emotional weight of that confession was heavy. The boy who used to be his father's champion son suddenly felt alone. Yet Karamo channeled this pain into purpose. He became an advocate for LGBTQ youth and opened dialogues about acceptance in communities of color. In his narrative, vulnerability gives way to power. Karamo took those generational scars and turned them into steps toward healing. Today, he stands as a loud and proud testament. The boy, who once feared shame, is now fearless, hosting dance shows and inspiring countless others to live openly. 4. Todrick Hall, Broadway's rainbow-clad dynamo, Todrick Hall, burst onto the scene in sequins and spikes. But long before choreographing for Beyoncé or winning hearts on American Idol, Todrick was a Texan teenager whispering his secret into the dark. He told his mother he was gay at just 14 years old. In a 2014 interview, he recalled struggling with bullies after that confession. Once he was out, no one had a reason to call me gay anymore because I was already out. This mix of raw pain and steely resolve forged his brave persona. Todrick's coming out wasn't publicized on social media. It was lived out in every flash of glitter and lyric he penned about love. Today, as a YouTube sensation and Broadway veteran, he still channels that vulnerable teen energy into art. His story reads like a musical montage, glittering costumes and soulful vocals. But behind it is a boy who, after telling his truth at 14, has never been afraid to dream loudly. Todrick uses each stage as a platform, saying through song that I love myself, that's why I'm able to do this, and reminding fans everywhere of the power in simply being who you are. 5. James Charles. At 16, James Charles was already reinventing beauty standards. And in an industry built on transformation, his own truth was flawless. He came out as gay at 12, embracing himself long before fame answered his knock. By 17, he would become the first ever male cover girl, a moment that confirmed what he knew inside. I'm confident in myself and my gender identity. I'm happy being a boy. But at the same time, I love makeup. His coming out narrative was woven through his art rather than a dramatic announcement. A boy wearing nail polish and heels to school, unafraid of stairs. In interviews, he notes that when he began YouTube at 16, his identity was part of his brand. 15 million fans? Saying, it's okay for you to be the way you are, we accept you. The drama of James's story lies in how he flips expectation. A soft-spoken Midwesterner challenging norms with each brushstroke. His vulnerability is his superpower. By owning being a makeup guy, he empowers others to defy labels. With every pastel eyeliner trend he sets, James's life proclaims that coming out isn't a curtain call. It's every backstage dressing room and spotlight after, shining an unapologetic rainbow. 6. Jake Zyrus, Charisse Pempenko. The voice that made Oprah weep carried its own secret. Filipina singer Charisse Pempenko became a global sensation as a teen, and by 2013, the world watched as Charisse revealed the truth on a talk show. I'm not hiding anything. I love myself, the then 21-year-old proclaimed after coming out as gay. For years he had felt it. I knew when I was 5, I'm gay, he later recalled. The transition from Charisse to Jake Zyrus was dramatic, exchanging sequins and gowns for jeans and button-ups, but it sprung from that vulnerable moment of confession. His story is cinematic. Imagine the young girl with a powerhouse voice, on stage at 16 on Glee, now stepping off screen to say, without flinch, I am who I am. The emotional resonance came from that honesty. Freed from hiding, Jake could shed the weight of expectations. He still sings with the same golden tone, but now with full authenticity. His journey, from a bullied child singer to an activist for Filipino LGBT youth, proves that real stars emerge when the inner truth shines through. 7. Charlie Barnett. Charlie Barnett's story is the quiet triumph of a shy Midwesterner finding his place on screen. Before Russian Doll made him a familiar face, Charlie was a 9-year-old in Chicago feeling different in a Midwest world. He remembers one childhood moment. His parents gently told him, "homie," and embraced with humor as he came out at 13. That secret, held for years, eventually fueled his performances as an actor. On stage and on film, he portrays gay characters with empathy drawn from real life. The dramatic arc of Charlie's narrative is subtle. Behind his on-screen confidence lies that timid teen who first recognized himself in the biopic Basquiat. Each role he's taken honors that kid's truth. Charlie says he feels unbelievable gifts from being born gay. Today, the vulnerability he carried then has become strength. He uses it to give voice to characters like Ben in Tales of the City. In Charlie's story, coming out wasn't a single thunderbolt moment. It was the gentle dawn of seeing himself in others, culminating in a career built on authenticity and grace. Jacob Greer teen TikTok star Jacob Greer went from viral pranks to a global coming out speech he never rehearsed. At 14, during a live video meant for fans, he dropped the biggest truth of his life. He was gay. In that frame of glow and pixels, thousands cheered not for a dance but for his bravery. The narrative turns poignant as Jacob recalls feeling both terrified and liberated. A boy standing at the edge of childhood who chose to leap. With millions watching, he said it plainly, instantly becoming a role model to other closeted teens. The drama of his moment wasn't scripted by Hollywood, it was raw and real, rippling through the TikTok community overnight. Before that, Jacob was just a regular kid. Now he's part of an important new generation, one that sees a 14-year-old come out in front of millions and realizes heroism can wear earphones and a cell phone light. His story is told through the ripple of likes and shares he received the moment he spoke his truth. 9. Dylan Geick. Dylan Geek's journey is a quiet song of self-love. A high schooler with dreams beyond textbooks, Dylan realized his truth by 15 and let it bloom. Unlike a scene in a movie, Dylan didn't make a big announcement. Instead, he lived it openly, building a small business that literally wore his pride. At 16, he launched a line of rainbow t-shirts called Pro-LGBT, and in each stitch and slogan, he stitched the message that being gay wasn't just okay, it was something to celebrate. His coming out story plays out in bulletin boards and pep rallies rather than red carpets. The power in Dylan's tale is everyday courage. The teenager who skipped the stage to start a grassroots movement, whose victory was measured in colorful shirts sold and hugs shared at school. His narrative is cinematic in its simplicity. A kid writing "Love is love" on a plain tee and watching others wear his heart. Through that, Dylan quietly became an icon in his community. The voice that reminds peers, through tissue paper and ink, that turning 15 and telling the world who you are can be the beginning of something beautiful. 10. Josh Thomas. Josh Thomas turned his teenage truth into art on screen. At 14, he realized he was gay. And years later, that experience became the beating heart of his acclaimed show Please Like Me. Josh didn't shout his secret in headlines. He retold it through comedy and tears. The drama of his coming out story plays out in monologues and sitcom scenes. In Please Like Me, the sweet, awkward teen coming out to his mother captures Josh's own journey. For the real Josh, telling family and friends as a teen was a quiet victory against fear, something he's joked took about half an hour to do in person. The power in his story is in its honesty and humor, turning that vulnerable moment at 14 into a winning stand-up set and TV series. The narrative resolution comes when a boy who once whispered his truth at home became a writer who has the whole world listening. Josh's story reminds us that coming out can be both deeply personal and wildly theatrical. He found that laughter was the lens that made his truth universal. These 10 journeys prove there's no right age or script for coming out. Just the courage to be real. Whether it's a viral live stream, a school project, or a quiet talk with family, Every story here makes the world a bit brighter. Who gave you chills or made you feel proud? Drop their number in the comments and let us know where you're watching from. And if these stories inspired you, smash that subscribe button and share Silent Fame with someone who needs a little pride in their day. Stay bold, stay visible, and keep the conversation going.